K2B Wastelanders, welcome to the Lost Holotapes channel, where we analyze the lore of the Fallout universe and specifically the history of settlements and factions. Today we will finish our excursion to Capital Wasteland, analyzing the lore of Broken Steel DLC, as well as Epilogue, which links the lore of Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. Take your Inguana beats and gather around the campfire. The Broken Steel DLC starts with the fact that while the Wanderer and Sarah were in coma, the Brotherhood sent Liberty Prime to destroy the Raven Rock base. After defeating the Enclave in the battle for the Memorial, destroying their leaders and the main coordination center, as well as setting up water purification system in the Potomac River, the Brotherhood essentially conquered the region, receiving the colossal support of the local population. But instead of a rigid monopoly and control of power with the help of a deficit resource management, they, by order of lines, provide everyone with water for free and organize delivery on their own. However, there were difficulties with this, because resources and money were needed to carry out the operations, including the need to pay caravaneers, and therefore the scribe responsible for the logistics of caravans with water was selling it in order to somehow pay for this endeavor. Rivet City extended a helping hand to the Brotherhood in exchange for some of the captured technologies of the Enclave, allocating some of its guards to accompany the caravans, jeopardizing its own safety. The delivery of aqua pura water carried out to almost all settlements in the region, so the caravans reached Canterbury Commons, Rivet City, Galaxy News Radio and the Citadel. But many caravans were attacked by various scoundrels, so the caravans going to the settlements of Andale, Tenpenny, Republic, Big Town and Duke's Place unfortunately perished. Perhaps in Andale, cannibal families, along with water, mistook the caravaneers for food delivery. Super mutants destroyed the caravan that was going to Big Town, and only one initiate survived. Most likely, Madame's raiders destroyed the caravan going to Tenpenny near Evergreen Mills. All these attacks turned into catastrophic casualties for Rivet City, that was losing its soldiers and what reduced the defensive ability of the settlement. The water that was delivered to Megaton fell into the wrong hands. In nearby Springvale, a cult of the Apostles of the Eternal Light is formed in the Hololight Monastery, which was a radicalized chart of Children of Adam. They pretended to be the city administration at the entrance, took the entire shipment of water entitled for Megaton and began to irradiate the water to spread holy radiation. They believe that gullification is the next stage of human evolution and that it should be accepted as a gift from Atom. With the successful launch of the Purificator, Project Purity was closed. Dr. Lee, the leading scientist after James died heroically, decides to leave for the Commonwealth and join the Institute. How many new inventions and discoveries are waiting for her with them? Several ghouls left the settlement after the conflict in the underworld and began to decide whether to go to Roy Phillips or establish their own new settlement. They choose the second option and come to the sewers of the city of Olney. Unfortunately for them, they didn't pay attention to the fact that their ruins were swarming with deathclaws. The settlement didn't have time to be properly established and fortified, and it died almost immediately, as soon as the deathclaws smelled new neighbors. The Wanderer wakes up 2 weeks after the start of the purification. During this time, Splitjack's gang appeared, attacking caravans with water. They have to be dealt with by the Rivet City guards and the Wanderer, who find the gang on the pier upstream. The gang is eliminated, not without casualties among civilians though. Meanwhile, the Brotherhood of Steel was trying to deal with other villains who were raiding caravans, the Talon Company. Moreover, Talons took one of the knights of the Brotherhood hostage and held him at Fort Bannister. The Brotherhood plans and successfully implements an attack on the Talon base and destroys it, together with the current leadership. But the company nevertheless does not perish. There is an issue in the underworld. One entrepreneur, Griffon, intercepts the entire batch of Aqua Pura and, with the help of his accomplices based in the Museum Authority building, replaces it with the fake Aqua Cura, which he assures, according to scientific research, could heal skin problems, get rid of headaches, pain, increase potency and so on. Griffon sells the real Aqua Pura to raiders and other inhabitants of the wastelands, to whom the Brotherhood would never send a caravan. Aqua Cura was essentially ordinary radioactive water. Thanks to the investigation of the Wanderer, a crowd of ghouls finds out that they were buying fake water and lynches the fraudster. The Brotherhood's war with the Enclave continues. The Enclave is still very dangerous, having several bases besides Raven Rock and field camps, so the Brotherhood attacks the West Olney camp to get the Deathclaw control technologies that the Enclave tested there, as well as the Raw camp to get a special device that didn't allow the Enclave turrets to shoot at its carrier. The Brotherhood finds out about the base of the satellite relay station and, using Liberty Prime, heads there to destroy it. Getting closer to the base, the Brotherhood destroys the Enclave's outpost in the Rockland Tunnel, turning it into its outpost for organizing an attack on the station. During the battle for the station itself, the Enclave takes out Joker from the sleeve and uses a satellite weapon, destroying Liberty Prime along with the station losing the siege. The Brotherhood lost the only thing that provided them with military superiority in the region. They didn't have a robot or enough people left after all these battles to efficiently continue the war. After the battle they leave Camp Rockland because of uselessness. However, the Brotherhood initiated the final battle for Adam's base, from which the Enclave controlled the Death Ray. According to the Hercules terminal, the Enclave was going to destroy the Citadel, Megaton, Rivet City and Galaxy News Radio using the Death Ray. In a desperate battle, the Brotherhood managed to infiltrate and destroy the Crawler before the odious Enclave incinerates the whole region. Together with the Crawler, the last soldiers of the Enclave die, the elite Sigma Squad. The Enclave in the region has been destroyed. The Brotherhood of Steel celebrates the victory and re-establish the Adams base as their own, where they begin construction of the Pridwen, an airship on which they will go to conquer the wasteland of the Commonwealth in 10 years. With the destruction of the Adams base, all the field camps and outposts of the Enclave are destroyed or abandoned. Owen Lyons fulfilled his main mission. He saved the inhabitants of the wastelands from supermutants and the Enclave and gave everyone clean water. He could retire with peace of mind. He peacefully dies of age. The leadership of the faction was inherited by his daughter, Sarah Lyons, but she couldn't sit in the headquarters and give orders, being the main warrior of the Order. Battles called her, and therefore her reign was short-lived. She dies in a battle with the Raiders. With her death, the pride of Lyons is disbanded. From that moment on, there is a turmoil in the faction, because there was no strong authoritative leader among the remaining members of the Brotherhood. The power struggle lasted for 5 years. After 2278, Sierra Petrovita, the biggest fan of Nuka-Cola and one of the 2 residents of Gittershade, leaves the settlement and embarks to the Commonwealth. A settlement with 1 person is not a settlement, so conditionally, Gittershade perishes. 3 Dog disappears and the half-broken Brotherhood leaves its Galaxy News radio base, Washington Memorial and camp on Pennsylvania Avenue due to the uselessness and smallness of the faction. The Brotherhood still hold the Citadel, the Jefferson Memorial, the Adams base and possibly the Arlington Library. The Talon Company's field camps are abandoned along with an outpost in a SATCOM tower, which was used by scientists who temporarily hired the company for protection. It is hard to imagine what will happen to Ryan Brick's gang, because even if he finds the recipe for the perfect mole rat, he can develop his group and arrange a monkey just as Evergreen Mills did. There are also no prerequisites for abandoning Seneca Station for drug-producing ghouls. Small field camps of raiders will be abandoned, primarily because they are not equipped enough for long-term existence. I won't name them all, there is a bunch of them, so just as usual I offer you to hit the pause and inspect the map on the screen. Despite the abandonment of GNR building, it doesn't remain empty forever. In the region, a company of mercenaries and vigilantes formed named The Good Fight, inspired by the speeches of 3 Dog while he was on the air. The leader of the group, Phil Goodman, became the leader and host of the radio station. The group accepted humans, ghouls and supermutants into its ranks. They were like a real brotherhood. In 2279, at the age of 12, Arthur Maxon shot the ambushing raiders dead on a training patrol, saving his escort squad. The next year, at the age of 13, he single-handedly killed the Deathclaw, although he received critical injuries including a deep cut on his face. In 2281, at the age of 16, Robert McCready is expelled from Little Lamplight and became a mercenary, married a girl and together they had a son. But his wife died during the feral ghouls attack and his son fell ill with an unknown disease that provoked the growth of blue blisters on his body, accompanied by fever. Robert went to the Commonwealth to look for a cure. In 2282, supermutants could no longer produce even more of their own kind, and the first supermutant Shepard tried to reorganize the remaining mutants in the wasteland to threaten the region again. His plans were disrupted by Maxon, who killed him at the age of 15. At this event, it can be considered that the supermutants in the region were finally destroyed. After defeating them, the Lost Hills contacted Arthur and offered to become the leader of the Eastern Chapter. So that the next year, in 2283, 16-year-old Arthur Maxon becomes the leader of the Brotherhood of Steel. He returns the faction to the original path, switching all politics to collecting technologies and refusing to help the local population. He accepted the outcasts back into the ranks. The Alliance chapter became part of the history, and the Brotherhood of Steel Eastern chapter was reborn. The Brotherhood, which returned to the original ideology under the leadership of Maxon, conquered the wasteland. The completed airship Pridwen became the most formidable hammer, which could solve any issues by force. In the West, in Lost Holotapes, a religious cult of Maxon arose among the members of the Brotherhood, although his followers were persecuted. You shall not undermine the authority of the Supreme Elder of the parent organization, right? Maxon himself is furious with the fact that he is deified. He is more impressed by the idea that he is an ideal specimen of human, who with the help of technology can acquire any pig and deal with any beast. Paladin Dance will issue a rather interesting remark in the Commonwealth Wasteland in 2287, calling for remembering the Citadel. The most likely interpretation of this phrase may be that the Citadel of the Brotherhood between 2283 and 2287 was destroyed as a result of some unspecified event. If it really happened, then the main base of the Brotherhood in the region will become Adams AFB. In 2286, the construction of the Pridwen has been completed. Arthur is planning a large-scale expedition north to the Commonwealth to destroy the Institute, the manufacturer of synth, The Brotherhood considered their activities to be heresy and a violation of the laws of nature. In 2287, when the Brotherhood went to the Commonwealth, the Italian company still operating in the region stole several vertebrates, with which they seized the Galaxy News radio station, attacking and killing a part of the Good Fight faction based at the time. The operatives who came to the aid killed the invaders, but after a good fight, there were so few of them that they decided to leave the faction in the past and move to the Commonwealth. In 10 years, in 2297, Hardin Sims becomes the mayor of Megaton, still blaming the Wanderer for his father's death 20 years ago, and Moira still continues to publish books that have spread everywhere and that can be found even in the Mojave Wasteland. This concludes our journey to the capital Wasteland with Fallout 3. Perhaps we will visit it once again when we will inspect the few fan-made story mods that were created before the Fallout New Vegas era. The next time we will probably visit Appalachia once again and explore the pit's history at the beginning of the 22nd century, with the upcoming major story update for Fallout 76. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, subscribe, hit the bell and leave a comment. Also check all the links below. They include the Google Earth map, the lore compendium and the text version of this video, which includes the statistics of settlements and factions. That's all for today. Don't let your 13-year-old children fight with deathclaws, and see you in the Wastelands, Wanderers. Fishers out.